Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Track Day Heroes podcast for the week of February 23rd, 2015. I'm Tony Rinker, and this week we have Nate Pike joining me as usual. Nate, how are you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good. We're trying to stay warm here in Northern Virginia. And we have a special guest this week. We have Todd Gerpsch. He is from N2 Track Days. He's a senior director there, and he's here to talk with us about track days and his experience and their philosophy and just a whole bunch of good stuff. Todd, how you doing?
Good, Tony. Nate, good to see you.
Good to see you, Todd.
Thanks for being here this week, Todd. And before we get going, I want to thank Jason Brooks for being on the show last week. I think we had a really good, informative podcast about group street riding techniques and also winter maintenance tips. Jason Brooks operates Brooks Cycle Center in the Northern Virginia area, and there's lots of good information in that show. So if you want to take a look back at episode 3, you can catch up on some of the good stuff we talked about there. So, Todd, Nate and I have talked about ourselves a lot on this show, probably bored everybody to tears. So why don't you, since you're the new guy and you're with N2 Track Days, why don't you talk to us about your riding experience, how you got into riding, and how you came to be involved with N2, and then we can talk about N2 in particular.
All right, very good. I got into racing years ago with Buck Miller. Anybody that's attended either a NESBA day back over the last probably 10 years or so has met Buck Miller. He was a director with me there at NESBA. Raced up at Loudon, New Hampshire for a couple years up there with Buck. Then got out of racing about the same time Buck did, and then shortly thereafter we were kind of bored, didn't know what to do with ourselves. We kind of stumbled into NESBA at that time. It was back in 2001, and the two of us became CRs for them, and then eventually 2006 became a director for NESBA. And then last year when N2 decided to take over the reins, and Rob Chickolo and those guys gave me a call and asked me if I would stay on as a director for them. So last year we had a rough start to the year, but getting things going and everything in place. But after that, it was pretty smooth sailing, and things went very well, I thought.
Well, Nate and I have ridden with both NESBA, the Northeast Sports Bike Association, no longer in existence, and then we've ridden with N2 quite a bit. So it's good to see you guys back and that things are organized and running well from what I saw last year. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I thought out of the riding organizations that I've ridden with, which albeit hasn't been very many, but the couple that I did, I noticed that NESBA was very well organized, and I liked the professionalism that was displayed when I went to their track days. And going over with N2, I saw the same there as well, and I've had a good experience with both organizations for the most part. I have to say that things with N2 have been smoother, comparatively speaking, with NESBA, but it's definitely been a lot smoother sailing, and administratively speaking, getting things done has been a lot easier. Just send them an email and get a quick reply, and something that I didn't experience before. So it's definitely been an improvement, and I've been very happy so far. So.
Yeah, I've ridden with 3 or 4 different organizations in the last couple of years, and everybody seems to have a little bit of a different focus or approach. Todd, could you tell us, and there could be people listening who it's their first time joining us, I just want to tell you we're here to talk about motorcycle track days, where you go and join a provider such as N2, and you go to a track where they're holding a track day. They provide an event where you can rent time on the track to ride with your friends. So, Todd, with that in mind, that there may be brand new riders who are interested in finding out what track days are all about, could you tell us a little bit about what the general track day approach is and what N2 what your particular focus is and how you guys like to handle things.
Yeah, we basically took what NESBA was and improved upon what everybody loved about NESBA, and then focused on making sure that that advanced and got even better, and then tried to get rid of anything that the people were unhappy with. As Nate pointed out, we try to respond almost instantaneously to your needs, whether you're at the track or off the track. And the big thing that we did last year was we opened up a intro or novice program, in which we're really catering to the first time to the track riders. We have a novice class that we start out in the morning. We identify those that it's their first time ever to the track, and we put them in a smaller group and assign control riders to them for the day. And at any point in that time during the day when they feel comfortable, they can say, hey, I'm just going to go and mix in with the rest of the novice group, or they could stay with that control rider for the entire day. We had a lot of great feedback last year on that program. Chris Smith kind of spearheaded that for us and put it out there with help from a lot of other people. But I think that if anybody that has attended our days so far that sat in on the novice program, I think that they would really agree with me that it's come full circle and it's really a great program for anybody that's their first time. It takes a lot of those nerves and jitters off for the people that it's their first time. I can still remember back to my first day going to the track. You know, back when I started, we didn't have track days. It was just you went racing and the nerves, the jitters, and everything else. Now you have everybody that's there to actually help you. Back then, nobody wanted to help you because they wanted to race against you and beat you, so they wouldn't help you. But now you come to the track, it's a great family type environment. You feel like everybody's your brother or sister there. Everybody's willing to help you out with whatever you need, whether it's the people in the paddock or whether it's the control riders or myself at the track. I'm available when I'm at the track running a day. I'm available the whole day and into the night. I spend my nights right at the track and hang out with everybody from the track at the day, and we all sit around a campfire and we tell stories about how fast we were that day. And well, maybe they're lies, but you know, and then you can still continue to expand on your riding even into the night, talking to me about riding that night and ask me questions on how your day went. Our approach really is availability to the track day rider that comes to our events. I would love to see as many people out there this year come and see and introduce yourself. If you saw the podcast tonight, you know, come to an event and you see me, please stop up and say hi to me. I'm very approachable. You can come and talk to me at any time throughout the day too. You know, that's the thing. Our control riders wander through the paddock throughout the day. You can at any time just say, hey, can you come and have a word with me? I have a question on, you know, this turn, that turn, or whatever is going on, or if you're having an issue on the track. We normally have somebody at the track that is well versed in suspension. You know, a lot of times I'll tell you, come on up at lunchtime and we'll give your bike a quick look over and see if there's something. It's amazing what a $2 screwdriver can either make a bike ride really nice or make a bike not ride so nice.
Yeah, I found that to be true, that you get a lot of great tips, you know, just casually. You may not realize the wealth of knowledge that everybody has at track days who's done a few, and obviously the staff, guys like yourself and
Right.
and Rob and anyone else at N2 who's on staff is a valuable resource before and after a session, and just I've always found it to be very friendly and comfortable at any track day that anyone provides. Basically, I found it to be a comfortable environment where, you know, I wasn't afraid to go ask questions or get tips about how to take turn 10 at Summit, or, you know, where's a good turn-in point here, and even beyond what is shown during a session with the control rider. Just getting having a control rider follow me and give me tips has been invaluable. Nate, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've found that when I've ridden with N2 in the past, if you ask any of them for help, they're always willing to be there and help you out and um, show you the lines, show you what you should and what you shouldn't do, and it's been a major improvement. I think it's one of the biggest assets as far as like going to a track day, like getting that almost one-on-one coaching with someone who's been there, done that sort of thing, and having them break it down for you and let you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. I think is one of the biggest rewards as far as going to the track day. It's one thing to just go out there and just kind of make a few laps, but it's another thing to go out there and actually get some instruction as far as like what it is exactly that you're doing out there and why you're doing it. And with N2 and slash Nesba, I felt that I've always gotten good control rider feedback and just had a good time out there.
Yeah, Todd, and to expand on that, I really like what you're saying and what you guys are doing for the new rider, because you have a new rider can get scared off from the track after if their first track day is a disaster. It forms a big impression, and it can scare people away from what can be a really reasonably safe and very extremely fun sport that you get better at with the right type of experience and the right type of teaching. And I've seen that the teaching at N2 and at the other organizations, the teaching is a big focus. And if I was a new guy and you've already shared a little bit about the the in-class instruction and going out with control rider, what do you think are the big mistakes that you see a new rider making out on the track?
I think one of the biggest mistakes that we see is really is somebody coming in with a big ego. They think that they're above average rider and that I'm not going to be able to teach them something, so they're going to show me and come in with a big ego. You have to leave your ego in check, leave it at the door when you come in, because there's a huge difference between being fast on the street and being fast on a track. Somebody that's fast on the street, somebody that's fast on the track, you put them together, the guy that's fast on the track has had hundreds of times to take the same turn over and over and hone how to go fast there. Where on the street, you're kind of riding by the seat of your pants for the most part. So if you leave your ego at the curb and check it at the door, come onto the day with a clean head, empty slate, and figure you're going to learn something for the day. Let us teach you something, because we all have a lot to offer. We all have thousands of laps at multiple tracks, and we'll teach you slowly but surely, how to go fast. Everything in baby steps. Anytime you take a big step, usually ends up costing you somewhere, whether it's a crash or just an off-road excursion. Neither is overly fun and tends to scare you, and then if you get scared, you may not want to come back. The other big thing is being overly intimidated. Everybody's there, and when I give my riders meeting, I point out the fact that take a look to your right, take a look to your left. Those are the people that are going to control how the track day is run. And everybody remember that today may not be your first day, but remember what your first day was like, and make sure that you help all those out here that it is their first day. One of the things I do in the riders meeting, I ask for people to show of hands, how many first-time track riders, so that in the novice group you can see exactly how many first-time riders are out there versus guys that have been coming for multiple events and are comfortable. Then again, when we also get to the novice classroom, you see it again, we go over it again, and we make sure everybody understands, how many actual novice first-time riders we have on the track. And we ask that everybody give them the same courtesy that they had when their first day out. The other big mistake is not understanding, and we said we're going to talk about tires and that, and Nate's going to touch base with it, but tire pressures, not checking your tire pressures and stuff like that when you go out on the track. Street tire pressures are set completely different than track tire pressures. We touch base in that in the riders meeting, and then hopefully somebody in your paddock or near you you're talking with in the morning, and they'll help you set up your tire pressures for the day.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, Nate and I did talk about this last week too, about the importance of tire pressure and tires. Before we get back into that whole conversation, Todd, what's going on with this year? I mean, I know you have a lot more dates.
Yep.
What can we expect out of N2 in the 2015 season? Are there new tracks to be riding? What's going on?
Yeah, we have a bunch of new tracks that are actually going to be riding this year. Pocono was added to our schedule this year. We haven't had them on our schedule in a couple of years. Dominion is opening up in North Carolina. We actually have a bunch of dates there starting at 6/6 and then July 4th weekend also we're at Dominion.
I think you meant Virginia for Dominion, right?
I'm sorry, correct. I misspoke, yes, Virginia. We're going to be doing rolling this year. We haven't had those on our schedule in a couple of years. Pit race full. They're going to be opening up the South Course this year. We're going to have some full dates where we run both the North and the South Course combined.
Sweet. Nate, have you done both the North and the South? I know you've done at least one of them.
No, yeah, they just started. Well, not just started. They've been working on it, but I've only done the one course. That's been open for a while now. I don't remember which one it is, if it's the South or the North. But
a little bumpy, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, it was a little bumpy. I don't know if they're doing any work on that course, but I mean, I'm assuming the new course is going to be nice and smooth since it's fresh. Definitely looking forward to seeing that happen.
Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I wanted Nate's input on pit.
Yep. Yeah, the South Course is just going to be finished this year. And once it's finished, we'll be running the full, which will be the North and the South combined. Right now we have on our schedule for July 18th and 19th. That weekend is our first full weekend out there. We're also going to be running Talladega this year. And then we've got our season ender at Barber this year. So we'll be down at Barber the 28th and 29th of November, in which typically our year ender we have a big cookout and everything, and I tend to smoke meat and cook all kinds of stuff and have everybody hang out at night and drink, and again we'll tell more lies of how fast we were all season and how slow we started out the season, how fast I am now, you know. So those are the new tracks we got this year. You know, we have all the usual New Jerseys. We have the normal pit race, North Course open. We're going to be going VIR. We're going to be doing Summit Point, Road Atlanta. It's going to be a spectacular year. If you look at the schedule, go on our website and take a look at that and for N2 and see what is out there and what fits everybody's schedule for this year. One of the other things we're introducing this year, it's called ATP. It's Advanced Training Program, in which that for an additional $245 for the day, you can have a private coach for the entire day. That coach is going to be YCRS 3C certified. So you'll have it's almost like taking the YCRS course to a point, you know.
So that's Yamaha Champions Racing School.
Correct. So we'll be with those guys this year. We're going to be having guest coaches throughout the year, which we did this past year also. It's kind of funny. We started doing it, and then we all of a sudden noticed that some of the other track day orgs are starting to do it now as well, which is fantastic. So we must be doing something right if everybody wants to copy what we're doing for this last year here.
Well, it looks like it's going to be an awesome season. I know I'm excited. Nate and I both purchased the 12-day pass this year. with them
Excellent.
too. Last year I didn't do a season pass. I kept my options open and just I was an elite member past 2 seasons, and then this year decided to jump on board with 12-day pass because for me the calendar looks great for where you guys are and what you're doing this year, and this kind of made sense because all my other buddies here on Track Day Heroes, a lot of them signed up for that too, and so we're looking forward to saving money by traveling together and uh, paddocking up together, and just that's so fun, to get out with the guys and disappear for a weekend and go wherever, right, Nate?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting together helps a lot with the cost as far as just transporting you and your bikes, hundreds of miles. To do it yourself, it's a little pricey, but you split it with one guy, that's 50%. Two guys, 33, et cetera, et cetera. So the more guys you get going, the better your chances are of going because it's just that more financially feasible for you. At least that's how it is for me. So yeah, I try to get my buddies to go, and it's not just the financial aspect. It's also being able to hang out with your friends and see them over the weekend and ride and do what you do for fun. Go out and ride bikes on the weekends. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, so wherever you are in the country, this is a national, internet podcast for the world. So wherever you are, there's going to be track days. Wherever you live, there's great racetracks all over the country. Get on the internet, find the track day providers that are near you. Just do a Google search, and you'll join the forums. You'll meet friends. You'll hook up. You'll get to hang out with cool guys, like Nate, and have a good time, sharing costs and telling lies and whatever else that we want to do about our track days, as Todd was joking. So Todd, it sounds like you guys have a great season lined up. What are the other, before we move on to tires, I know Nate has to go in a couple minutes, and I wanted to get his input on some tire issues. But what are the other membership packages that you're offering, or multi-day pass type things for Men2?
At the beginning of the season, we offered a unlimited track package, which I believe is not available at this time. Geez, off the top of my head, I don't know what all the packages are that are out there. I know we have the 12-day, which you signed up for. There is an 18-day, and
is there a full season pass? Is the 18-day the full season pass, or no?
No, we had a full season's pass at the beginning of the season. Geez, I can't remember. I don't know if it's up there yet still or not. I apologize for not having that information. I'd have to double check our packages for you because unfortunately I don't know the answer off the top of my head.
Well, it's easy enough to find at your website, which is n2.org.
Yes.
Right. But you guys offer a variety of packages. I mean, you could just be an elite member. You could just be a basic member for what, $25?
That's correct.
Or you could be an elite member where you can have, for I think it's a couple $100, and you can have
You like me to
cancel your
Huh? You were sleeping.
Nate, your mic is on.
Oh, sorry about that.
You could have the ability to cancel your day at the last minute if you had to, up until 9 o'clock that morning. There's other great benefits to the elite membership, right, Todd?
That is correct. With the elite membership, it allows you to sign up last minute for an event without the late fee that's associated with it. If you don't sign up for a track day within the 15 days prior to the event, there are late fees associated for signing up late. With the elite membership, those are all waived for you. Plus, you get with the elite membership, you also get better pricing on the day itself. But the only thing the elite membership doesn't do for you is if the event sells out prior to, it does not buy you a way in if we've already sold out.
Right.
The downside. Right.
There's that. But on the other hand, if you have one day ruined by weather and you're able to cancel, up till 9 o'clock that morning, or whenever your cutoff is, that one track day would pay for the elite membership because you can use that at any other day. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Especially when you typically it's $20 or $30 a day cheaper with the elite membership versus standard pricing.
Right.
So after you do a few days that way, and then if you have to cancel a day or want to cancel a day due to weather, you can certainly make up that elite membership very quickly.
Okay, well, let's move on to tires. I know that Nate is got a huge stack of takeoff tires in his garage, and so I want to know, Nate, what's the value? What's a takeoff tire? Why would I want takeoff tires? Maybe, or why wouldn't I?
For me, it's a thing where, you know, when you buy them brand new, I mean, they can run like $350 for a pair, maybe $400 for a pair. It gets pricey. So, you know, when you guys have guys that are out there that will do maybe, you know, 7 or 8 laps or 10 laps, whatever they do on a set of tires, and then pull them off their bikes, they'll sell them for maybe half price. And for them, it's good for them because they'll get a fresh set of tires. It's good for me because I'm not at their skill level to, you know, to notice the difference between a tire that's had 7 laps on it or a tire that's had 10 laps on it. So I'm fine with, you know, getting that tire from them, you know, at half price and running, you know, 2-3 days out there on the track with them. So for me, it's a bargain, you know. Another thing too, I feel like, you know, with street tires, you know, you got the Q3s that have rebates on them every year. They're a great deal as well because you've got something that's good for the street and also very track capable as well. So it's hard to go wrong with that tire. And but if you're going to be strictly track only, you know, if you have a dedicated track bike, I would recommend something more, you know, track oriented like a track tire. But if you are going to do mixed street riding, I don't recommend the track tires. They do need warmers to perform best, and they're not going to get the heat in them from the street that like a tire like the Q3 would, where it heats up quickly, you know. So yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to being a good deal for the track tires. And you know, with the Q3s, you'd probably burn them up a lot quicker than you would if you had a dedicated track tire, because the track is a lot harder on your tires than the street would be because you're pushing your bike a lot harder.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, if I wanted to find takeoffs, Nate, I mean, where would I look for takeoffs if I wanted to save money? And, you know, obviously buyer beware when you're buying takeoffs, but where could I find some, do you think?
I've found mine. I found them on the N2 forum, on the Wira forums. There's some eBay sellers. Really, it's just been online on the different forums.
What about at the track?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think about that. At the track, yeah, you'll see guys in the paddock. They'll have, you know, signs hanging by a tire, you know, $50, and you know, that's great to get, you know, 2 days out of a set of tires for $50. You know, it's a pretty good deal. So yeah, walk around, see what you can see, grab a set of tires from somebody. There's usually a vendor at the track as well that can help you mount them up, and usually for a nominal fee as well. It's not like they're gonna gouge you or anything just because you're at the track, and they're the only way to get the tires on sometimes. I want to say average is probably, you know, maybe $10-$20 a tire. So yeah, they'll set your suspension up for you most of the times. They'll work with you all day. You know, usually between like $40 and $50. So you know, you get them started in the beginning, and they'll check your settings all day long, and you can't beat that.
So Nate, you're running slicks at the track on your bike. What bike are you running? What tires are you running? What tire warmers are you running?
Yeah, this past season I switched it up to the Pirelli Superbikes. I've never run them before. I also switched the size. I was running a 190/55, and this is on a 600, so I guess it's a little on the bigger side. But I got a good deal on the Pirellis, and they're 180s, and I mean, I love them. They're extremely grippy. I feel like they're a little softer than the Dunlops. The Dunlops have like a harder carcass to them. But I've been very happy with the wear. The wear has been great. I still have them on the bike because I wasn't able to wear them out. I mean, I've done maybe 4 days on them. I bought them used. They already had a couple days on them, and the wear has just been great. I have no complaints whatsoever as far as the grip or anything like that. The warmers that I use, I actually picked up off of the old Nesba forum. They're just a set of the Chicken Hawk racing tire warmers, and yeah, they've been working pretty well for me. I sent them back to Chicken Hawk because they actually weren't quite big enough. I had a 200 series tire on my 1000cc bike, and they were a little too tight. I couldn't get them fully wrapped around the tire, and I sent them back. Great customer service. They took care of them, no problem. So I've been fairly happy with those as well. So yeah.
Well, cool. So, Todd, what are you running at the track, and what's your setup?
I run a Yamaha R6, and I run Dunlop tires. I ran the Pirellis a few years back. I love the Pirellis. Pirelli's a great tire. I run the N-Tech Slick as well. I also run a Q3. The Q3 is a great cold weather tire. Beginning of the season, end of the season. It also makes for a great rain tire rather than running full rains. Full rains are great when it's really raining out all day, but the the Q3s are a really nice tire for when you have that interim, a little bit of rain. The track's damp but not soaking wet. It gives you heats up quicker. You don't need to run a tire warmer on it. It doesn't hurt when it's cold out to get a little bit of heat in it before you go out. I tend to drop a pound in both the front and the rear, sometimes 2 pounds, depending on how cold it is out, just so that the carcass works a little bit more and get a little more heat into the tire. The racing slicks are awesome. When I switched over, from just a standard race tire, whether it was Pirelli or Dunlops, when went to the slicks, it's a little, once they come up to temperature and you're out on the track, you get a little more grip out of them. And I seem to find for myself that I get a little better wear out of them than I do with just a straight DOT race tire. So suspension is everything, though. If your suspension isn't set up right, you're going to eat tires. Once you get your suspension dialed in, you'll find that the tires will actually wear much longer than you were if your suspension was not set up correctly.
Yeah, that's an important technical point. I've had my suspension set up. I'm running the BMW S1000RR 2013 and street tires, Q3s. Love the Q3s. Dunlop. I'll take some if you want to, send some my way. Great tire on the street and at the track. They wear great. I knew it was time to change my Q3s. I actually ran a Q2 in the front and a Q3 in the rear for a while, for about maybe 10 track days. And I knew they were gone when they started to feel greasy. You hear guys say that the tires felt greasy, and it was a hot day, and I could feel them sliding around, and I knew it was time to go. And but they are that's a really good tire. And so I intend to keep using that and see what else they come up with, because it's working for me, at least at my skill level. I'm an intermediate rider, and Nate, you're an advanced rider, and Todd, you've been riding forever in racing. So your skill levels and what you want on your tires is maybe a little bit different than what I need at this point. But for me, it's been phenomenal, going from the stock Dunlop Battle Axe tire that came with the S1000 to the Q2, Q3, and then just straight Q3s in the front and the back. It was absolutely night and day, and I was just so much more confident pulling it over into the corner and leaning over and knowing that my back end and my front end are going to be there. Just really helped me relax a lot on the track. And what you said about suspension setup, so Mark set up my suspension here local on the East Coast. Mark Built is a setup guy that has done a lot of stuff at track days. But the importance of the setup for me was he had me get on wearing my full suit, my full tracksuit, so I had the proper weight with my new tires, and I had a asymmetrical nut that I could switch, which would lower the front end on the S1000 in the back. So I flipped that lug, so lowered my front end to increase my turn in, and then he set my suspension based on that. And it's been working great, and hopefully as I get faster, I'll need my suspension set again. But it is key to have it set to your weight with your good tires and with your full track setup at the track. That's my experience with it. What about you, Nate?
As far as wear, I've just been replacing them as soon as they get down to the wear indicators for the most part. On the slicks, you've got like little dimples in the tires, and once those go smooth, I try and replace them at that time. I mean, I have been known to wear them out to the very last jagged edge. Street tires, I pretty much wear them down to the cord. It's not, I mean, it's not recommended, but I usually think I got another couple miles out of them, but yeah, no, I try to go by the wear indicators. I'm just not the best at it. I've had an issue with one tire where I just thought, hey, it's good to go, and I just kept riding it. It was a Dunlop, and then a couple laps in, and the rear just started to slide around more than it should, and that's when I realized, all right, it's probably time to mix it up and switch it on out. So you can't always go by the wear indicators, I guess, because they just don't really lose their grip because there's no, the wear indicators are down. So, but I do try and use that as an indicator as far as, you're getting close. But, yeah, you can't always go by that. So, yeah.
Right, and I think as Todd mentioned earlier, I mean, this is all assuming that you're running the right tire pressures for your situation. So there's many factors involved in what's going on with my tires. I mean, it's not just where's the wear bar, but it's about what the track conditions are, how hot, how cold the track is, how hot, how cold my tire is, what the tire pressure is, because as Nate and I have talked about in earlier shows, when you go out, like on the Q3s on my bike, for example, I go out with the rear at like 23, 24, and then when I come in after it's hot, it's up to 26, which is the recommended hot tire pressure for the rear at the track. And then the front tire, I go out at 28 or so in the front, and then I come back in after the session, and it's 31, which is the recommended hot tire pressure. And so that's when I check my pressures. Before I go out, I make sure they're a few pounds lower than what they should be. And then immediately before I take off my suit, no matter how hot it is, I leave my gloves on, I grab my air thing, and I immediately check my tire pressure, get it up on the stands to make sure my tire pressures are there. Because if that's consistent throughout the day, then I can make an informed decision about what is going on with my tires. Am I losing grip? But I can't know that unless I'm running the right tire pressure. What do you think, guys?
Oh, absolutely. You also had touched base, Tony, a little bit there about how you could start to tell it was starting to go, it was feeling a little greasy. The nice thing is, with like the Q3s and that, they may start to feel a little bit greasy, but they give you if you're paying attention to your bike, it gives you an indicator. It doesn't just all of a sudden, I have no traction and go away. It definitely talks to you a little bit and says, hey, you may want to change me here because I'm starting to lose a little grip here, not quite as good as I used to be. The slicks are the same way for me. You start coming into turns and it's like, okay, I'm riding the same as I was last time out here, but the front's pushing a little bit and you're starting to get a little bit of slide. That's when you start to pay attention and know that it's time to change those out at that point. And tire pressure, I check it multiple times throughout the day, especially like right after lunch, after you've sat around, because as the day goes on, you'll find you may start gaining tire pressure as the ambient air temperature is going up around you, the track's getting hotter from the sun beating on it, and you may want to tweak those down a little bit so you stay in that sweet spot for that tire, so you're getting as much grip as you can. One of the things that I think is a lot of people jump to a race tire very quickly, and it's not really necessary. You can save yourself some money on tires and put it into the more track days instead of spending more money on tires by running, like a Q3 for a little bit longer. But the one thing that you do gain by switching to a race tire, especially if you're running tire warmers, so that you're not going out on the track and getting a cold tire crash, which we see multiple times, people pushing too quick and not letting the tires come up.
Nate, that's never happened to you, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I've definitely had a cold tire issue with some race tires. It was like my first time running them, and I didn't have warmers on them, and it was the end of the day, last session of the day, first lap of that last session, and I thought a good throttle and hard throttle out, and then hard brake would be enough to warm them up, and I guess it wasn't. So it's all good. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, I remember I was behind you. But on that note, you kind of got to head out, Nate.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check out a little early, so you guys can go ahead and wrap up, and I'll catch you guys next time. But Todd, it was great seeing you on the show, and hope to see you again here soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Nate.
All right, Nate.
All
We'll
right.
check you later, brother.
All right, see you guys.
So Todd, so you said you were running an R6 at the
That
track?
is correct.
Is that your
That's correct.
is that your street bike also?
No, it is not. I actually have a Ducati right now for a street bike. I have a Monster Foggy that's actually my street bike, but it really hasn't been a street bike in a few years. I've been pretty much running strictly on the track between work and then going to the track. I really don't have a lot of free time to ride the street so much anymore.
Right.
I also used to have an MV Augusta F4 that I had on the street also, but I just recently sold that because there's just no time to ride it. Just sits downstairs in the garage and collects dust, and every now and then I go down and clean and wax it up and look at it. But I also do have a Yamaha YZ450F that I have set up for super motard. So.
Man, you've got it all.
I don't know if I got it all. I do have fun.
Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention about tires, just to backtrack for a second. One benefit of having a bunch of guys that you're tight with in a biking community is my Track Day Hero buddies and I got together. We pitched in. We actually bought a tire changer, a manual tire changer, for about $1,100, and we keep it at one of the guys. Someone volunteered to keep it at their garage, and when anyone needs a tire changed, we just go over to his house and we hang out and we change tires, and it's paid for it. We all think 10 of us or so chipped in, or 11 of us, and so it's paid for itself really quick. So it's nice to go to the track with brand new tires, not have to worry about getting tires necessarily changed at the track, because I've done that. I've had my bike up on the stands with the front and rear wheel off, changing tires at lunchtime, and that kind of sucks. Because you feel a little hurried, a little bit rushed. You don't get that time at lunch to relax when you're trying to change a tire at the track. So, if you have some buddies and you have a little money you could throw together and get your own tire changer, it's not hard, and it's not overly expensive when you consider the fees that you can save for changing tires. But and obviously you can weigh in on this, Todd. You guys usually have a vendor at the track to sell tires and to change tires, etc.
That's correct. We usually have a vendor at the track. We have Shag Moto. We have Marietta Motorsports. Almost always at every event we have a tire vendor in which you can buy, and they'll install tires for you when you buy them, or you can bring your takeoffs to the track, and it's typically $20 a tire for the mounting and balancing of the tire at the track.
Yeah, and that's not bad at all, especially when you need it and you didn't know, when you need it, you need it.
Oh, absolutely. Ultimately, tires are cheap when you're compared to a crash because you didn't want to spend the money on a set of tires.
Yeah, Absolutely. I mean, the things I won't skimp on are my tires, my brakes, and my tracksuit, my safety gear. I mean, what's on the road, what's keeping me stuck to the road, what's stopping me, and what's keeping me safe and for a crash. I definitely don't want to skimp on that stuff if I can.
I Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there.
And we talked about this last week, but if you're new to track day riding, there's lots of ways to get in this at lower than retail value. You can go on Craigslist, you can go on eBay, you can go on the various forums like sportbike.net, etc., the Wera forums, and you can get used gear, buyer beware, but you can save some money that way, not have to spend top dollar just to get on the track.
Absolutely. There's a lot of guys that are selling suits, or they went, did the sport for a short time, and then life happens, whether it's having kids or whatever goes on in your life, personal life, that pulls you away from the track, and then they're selling some good equipment for a fraction of the cost of new.
Yeah.
You can get some really good deals out there.
Well, we've got pretty much one more topic. You ride an R6. I was wondering if you had any thoughts or had looked at or heard about the new Yamaha R1 2015.
Yeah, the new R1 this year is supposed to be very impressive. One of our control riders, Lenny, has one coming here. I don't know if he's picked it up yet, but he's pretty excited to throw a leg over that and get out there on the track and run it to its paces. Um, the R1 has always been an awesome machine. I used to swap back and forth with Buck with his R1. He'd ride my R6, and I come off the R1, and my neck muscles are like, oh my God, that thing just has so much power. Um, Although it's probably not as comparable to your BMW, quite frankly. I think the BMW is quite impressive as well.
Well, I was looking at the stats. It's funny you say that. I was looking at the stats on the motorcyclist.com first ride review that you can find, pretty easily going to the motorcyclist.com website. And the new R1 has some big numbers. It's got 197 horsepower. The
Yeah.
the engine itself is 8.8 pounds lighter than last year's engine, and they increased the bore. They increased um, they increased the exhaust size. The wheels, the tank, the clutch are all lighter. They tweaked the ergos. What I got really out of that story was that this is a track bike first that you can ride on the street instead of it being a street bike that you can take to the track. And I think that's a pretty accurate assessment. I mean, my S1000 has 194 horsepower, so this thing beats mine by 3, and is every bit, I'm sure that it's every bit as comparable with all the other things they've added to it this year. They've got all the electronics. I think that's the big deal about the new R1 is that it looks like this is the first Japanese manufacturer that's got all of the electronics in tow.
I agree. BMW kind of set precedent in the 1000cc category by putting out a bike that had everything, all the electronics. It gave you everything that you could ever want for a street/track bike. And now you see Yamaha following suit, saying, you know what, we can do that, and we might even be able to do it better. In putting out the R1 to compete against the BMW in that category.
Well, when I see Lenny at the first track day, we'll find out. Um, if he's willing to teach me how to ride at the track, I'd appreciate it. What else do they have on that this year? They've got a quick shifter. They've got linked brakes that link the front and the rear brake, but that's going to be disabled. You can disable that at the track. Obviously, you don't want the rear brake engaging at the track. It's got launch control, wheelie control, slide control. There's 4 ride modes, and then within the 4 ride modes, they're editable, so you can change any of the electronics, like the launch control, the wheelie control, the slide control. All that stuff can be edited within each of the 4 different ride modes electronically. I don't know if you can do it on the fly or not. They're all with the presets. I think you can. Hopefully, you can switch them on the fly. I'm not sure on that, but That's exciting stuff, and I think a first for the Japanese catching up on this stuff.
Well, this year we're partnering with YCRS, and YCRS is taking over the Yamaha demo program this year. So we're going to have those at several events this year. So we'll have the demo program. You'll have to check our calendar as it's posted, but you'll be able to actually come on to the track and actually ride a Yamaha R1 on the track and see what it feels like and rides like before you purchase it if you would like through
Wow.
the YCRS demo program.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, you'll be able to take an R6 out and see what that feels like. You can take an FZ6 or 800 out and see what that feels like. It should be a fantastic program. YCRS is picking up where NESBA left off when NESBA used to have the demo program. Now YCRS is going to take over that program, and we're going to have them at several events this year.
Okay. I'm excited. It's going to be a great season. I don't see any questions in the Q&A tonight. Kind of answered the tire issue question from one of our guys this week about when you should change your tires. Todd, do you have any parting thoughts about any of the things we talked about tonight?
No, not really. I guess I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody out there at the track this year. Tony, I mean, what's going to be your first day this year with us?
Well, depending on what's going on, it'll either be it could be Road Atlanta, the beginning of April, 4th and 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Or I may stay home and go to Summit that weekend, Summit, Maine. It's nice that you guys are in both places that same weekend, April 4th and 5th. And then May 23rd and 24th, you guys are back at Road Atlanta and you're at Summit, Maine again.
That is correct.
Off the top of my head. And I don't want to travel on Memorial Day weekend, so I probably will not be driving down I-95 to towing a trailer on that weekend. I'll leave that to Nate, man. He's hardcore. But so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to some good weather, and just getting out in it. So I think that's about all we have for this week. Todd, I want to thank you from N2 Track Days. Todd, what's your website and where can we find you guys?
You can find us on n2trackdays.org. And look us up there. We're going to be all over the Northeast this year. We have a great calendar this year. A lot of great events, a lot of great dates. Hopefully it meshes and fits everybody's schedule so that we fill up the days and come on out and play. We have a blast both on the track and off the track. As you pointed out, some of the best time is actually at the end of the day hanging out with your buddies.
Yeah. And you guys are also on Facebook, and
yes,
correct. So we can find you there too. But whatever, and for you listening out there and watching the show, whoever you ride with, whatever organization you ride with, wherever you are in the country, you're going to have a great time if I think you follow Todd's advice at the top of the show, which was to keep your ego in check and have fun. We're out there to learn how to ride fast, safely, and have fun. This is meant to be fun. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a wealth of knowledge from people at the track who can take you under their wing, who can get in with a group of guys that go to the track regularly, join a forum, find people to hang out with. You'll get faster so much quicker by picking up on the wisdom other people have shared about what to do and what not to do at the track. And as you said, Todd, it is an extremely different experience than riding on the street. And that's why we're doing this podcast, is to reach you folks out there that are interested in track days. We'd like to hear from any of you that have a lot of experience, guys who are former racers like you, Todd, to write into the show, join the Q&A live during the show, post questions. You can reach us at trackdayheroestdh@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page, Track Day Heroes TDH. And we're on Google Plus also, Track Day Heroes. You can look us up there. And we'd love to answer some of your questions or comments on the show. And that's about all we have for this week. We'll probably be back in another 2 weeks for another show during the winter here. There's not as much to talk about. Once we get going, maybe we'll have a show every week, but that just depends. So again, Todd Gerbsch, I want to thank you, Senior Director of N2, for spending your evening with us. And for everybody out there, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll keep annoying you whenever we're back next. And please remember to keep the rubber side down. Todd, anything else?
Nope. Tony, thank you for having me.
All right, it's been a good show. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.